intro, Pat. So I have the pleasure of talking about one of my favorite topics today, which is Python, because I think Python offers a genuinely unique opportunity for significant transformation. So I learnt Python in my early 20s, but I soon found it so powerful, so useful, that I had this fairly ambitious dream, and I will call it a dream at this point, of bringing the power of Python to the masses, to non-programmers, and even to resolute technophobes. I wanted to see if I could create a workforce of genuinely Python-powered people across all parts of the business. I'm going to tell you what I did with that slightly wild idea, and how I have now, with a team, taught almost a third of our firm, people who aren't in the tech department, critical technical skills such as Python. So if you're interested in transformation, in tech literacy, in talent management, in training, or in bridging that tech, non-tech silo or gap that we've talked about before, then hopefully this talk should have something to offer. So, as Pat said, I've worked in a variety of tech roles, but I don't come from a standard Chomsky background. I stumbled across programming really as a means to an end as part of my astrophysics research. So I've had a really steep learning curve, but I think my freshness to the programming world and the variety of roles that I've had has really helped me see just how powerful coding is, but also how broadly applicable it is. Programming, particularly with Python, is becoming more and more popular, but there's still a significant barrier to entry. I've spoken with prospective engineers who are clearly put off by a stereotype of programmers being these hyper-intelligent nerds in the corner, numbers running down the screen, courtesy of films like The Matrix. Ultimately, that you have to be a superhero in a cape to be able to tackle it. But it's a stereotype that's really wrong and really damaging. Years back, though, when I first started teaching two colleagues Python, they were a bit interested, I wanted to give it a go. We gave up really quickly. It felt like such a mammoth undertaking. And in particular, these were like senior professionals who had well-established careers in other fields. So it was such an investment when they kind of already had a good gig going. But with some significant changes to my approach over the years and a fantastic team around me, Python is now our employees' second most commonly spoken language after English, and it is a global firm. So, should everyone write code? Things have really shifted over the years. Where we had a few specific tech-orientated companies, now every industry is significantly impacted by and involved in technology. Where we used to have siloed technology departments speaking a foreign language to the rest of the firm, now we see individuals across all parts of the business, learning new tech skills, interacting at least with tech tooling on a daily basis. But it shouldn't really be surprising. Automating your workflow saves time, it improves your productivity, it reduces risk as you go, and analysing data that you care about allows you to glean meaningful business insight that lets you prove your case and drive change, whatever that change might be. So programming, I believe, can help everyone do their job better. You can see from the charts, Python is the most popular programming language, and its popularity is growing. It's the TIOBE index, essentially the programming language popularity contest that drives these graphs. And in fact, a few years ago now, even 2019, more people Googled, what is Python programming, than those who searched for Kim Kardashian or Donald Trump. So go tech, I think that's quite an achievement. It won't be lost on you that Python is a particularly impactful language, and it's unique, in my opinion. I think it's in a real sweet spot. So I forget who it was. Someone yesterday referred to their graph on the page as a made-up graph. That's what this is. It's completely from my head. There's no data. But usually there's a trade-off between performance, efficiency, capability, what the language can do, and the barrier to entry. So C++, super powerful, super efficient, not something you can do much with if you've only spent a couple of weeks looking at it. It'd be in the top right of this made-up chart. And Scratch, as an alternative, would be bottom left. It seems to be taught to toddlers these days, which is equal parts very exciting and terrifying. But it doesn't achieve much as a language in its own right, Scratch. So that one would be bottom left. But Python Python is used by millions of professional developers worldwide to earn a living. It's used to build the internet. It was used to make the special effects of Star Wars. But it's simultaneously being taught to school children. It sits off that line of direct proportionality. Really, it's too easy for what it's able to achieve. And that's not something we've seen before. Previously, you've had to, as a non-techie, sorry, I know that's not many of you in the room, but previously, you've had to pitch for your functionality, your process, your analysis, to be added to a lengthy tech department's backlog and battle out for prioritization. Tech departments have also exploded off the back of this. But Python's accessibility, its capability, can bring programming to the masses. If you break the engineering silo and allow teams to self-serve some of their more basic technical requirements, even if teams self-serve, let's say, 20% of their needs, that's a significant speed up for end users, significantly reduced back and forth between teams in gathering requirements. And you know, most significantly, we're unlocking genuine innovation. So when the knowledge of functional experts, whether they be lawyers or HR people or operations, whatever team, when that knowledge is in the very same brain as someone who now understands what tech is capable of, we have seen genuine innovation, ideas that would never even made it onto a backlog because they just didn't know what was possible or what to ask for. In reality, at my firm, I believe we're starting to see that that percentage is actually much higher than 20%. I would argue it's a conservative estimate for where we're headed. But what does the data say? I'm not alone in this viewpoint. Politicians seem to see it. A lack of digital skills is supposedly costing the UK economy about £13 billion a year. And job seekers see it too. So almost a third of the UK workforce believe they've missed out on a promotion due to a lack of technical skills. It's audience participation time on a phone, laptop, tablet, whatever you've got. You can either scan the QR code, or if that's not working, go to slido.com and enter the password or the code, I think it's called LeadDev. No spaces, capital L, capital D. Please do start casting your votes immediately and don't leave me hanging because this is the awkward bit where it goes a bit quiet. We're starting to get some votes through. Thank you, AV team. And I would say maybe some of this is surprising to me. Quite a few feeling not at all. I'd love to talk to you in the break. But yeah, lots of people generally feeling there's at least some impact to them. Cool, thank you. So we conducted an exercise a few years ago, actually, to profile the future workforce of our firm with a specific lens for the usefulness of self-service automation and data science. We tried to be really specific. Whether it was compliance officers, social media managers and comms professionals, lawyers, HR, ops, the list goes on, tech and data skills seem pertinent in almost every role. But hiring functional experts in each field that can also code was never going to happen. It was apparent we can't just hire our way towards this opportunity, which begged the question of whether we could upskill. So we saw a sizable opportunity in providing targeted, structured training in technical skill sets that matter to us as a firm, and building beginner-friendly tooling to go with it to really break down that barrier. And we call it Develop, but it's our bespoke technical training program with the tooling that goes with it. This was born. We've 8 modules with something suitable, ideally, for everyone of every role and seniority, from complete beginners, workshops in technical program management, through to a full digital master's that can be studied alongside your work. No matter how much time someone invests, we bring them along the tech learning curve, improve their awareness and skills, their ability to understand jargon at the very least. And we encourage our students to embrace the benefits of AI whilst understanding the risks at every stage of that journey. We will always have a sizable engineering team building robust, reliable, complex, production-worthy systems. That's not what I'm talking about. This is all about the huge value that's to be taken from cheaper, ad hoc, self-service scripting being democratized. We're empowering individuals, giving them the freedom to create tooling and inspect their own data. So we're creating Python-powered people. Genuinely, as much to my surprise as anyone, it's starting to stick. I'm constantly flabbergasted by this. I've always loved Python, but I thought I'd have to persuade people into it, and that's just not the case. I've got a team member here and she'll vouch for this, but we are battling a waitlist that grows faster than we can get through it. And people across all teams, it's interns through to the executive committee, are optionally signing up, doing homework, enjoying the courses, and boosting productivity and driving data-driven strategy as we go. I was actually asked for more homework from a colleague the other day, and maybe I was being trolled, but the joke's on them because I did indeed give them more homework. So we call our graduates federated developers, and you've seen this slide before, but 18 to 2 years later, one of our compliance officers took to it so much, he's now taking a part-time master's in data science in his evenings. We've had superstars in comms and marketing use natural language processing. Words are our data now, not just numbers. And one of my colleagues in legal made a comms bot. It's not a fully fledged lawyer, don't worry, but it can retrieve relevant, related documentations to just get us going on new initiatives really quickly. We've recognised a second opportunity to this training too, and that's the digital diversity gap, as well as the digital skills gap. I think it's easy to assume that in time, diversity in the tech industry will sort of improve on its own, but there is evidence to suggest that's sadly not the case without our intervention. So on this chart, the red line is the number of women in majoring in computer science in the US. It's actually significantly dropped off since the 80s. But if we're training up staff, clients, charitable partners across the industry with critical technical skills, we must ensure we're training diverse talent in the process. This is part of the reason we partnered with Warwick University and Goldman Sachs to create a bespoke master's that acts as a fast track into technology leadership for those from underrepresented backgrounds. Audience question time again. It's the exact, it should just preload. But how far has your company taken technical training? Maybe you don't do much at all. Often I find eager staff are supported with Udemy or Coursera or something like that, maybe with the cost but not so much with the time. Are you doing something similar to develop? That's our mountain initiative of bespoke modules. Or maybe everyone can already code. Thanks, some input coming through already. Yeah, I've never done this with an audience of this size, which is pretty cool, but often I hear this response. Like if someone's really, really keen, they can kind of be a bit supported. But we've got people who would have previously been kind of terrified almost to engage. And I think that's what's really exciting for me. We, at least internally in our firm, I think we've broken that stereotype of having to wear a cape. Cool. I think it's the last slide now. Yeah, so I'm nearly done. Hopefully I've sparked an idea in the space of tech, talent and transformation. That's what I like talking about. But I want to leave you with a taste of what I'm thinking about next. So the other day, I think I reviewed about 100 intern CVs, and I would estimate about 80% of them mentioned Python on their CV. It makes initiatives like Develop even more important, though, because we need senior, experienced domain experts able to speak the same language as the new tech-enabled talent that are joining us in the junior ranks. And to be clear, this intern application was for roles across the entire business, not just in tech. And we need to find ways of interviewing for these federated developers as well, not just interviewing for fully fledged engineering skills. Next slide. We're looking at NLP in earnest with the same mindset of making beginner-friendly tooling to take it off that superhero pedestal so that the wordsmiths of the firm can really join us, not just the highly numerate bunch, so that they're brought into the fold. And finally, the last thing I'm super excited about is people analytics. I think if you truly consider your people data through the lens of data science, it has huge potential in an industry like mine where your people are your biggest asset. That's all I've got time for, but I hope I've sparked some food for thought, and I'm excited to hear from you all about ideas, concerns and questions. Yeah, there's much more I could say on it. Thank you.